Society usually tracks adulthood through a series of external milestones. You turn 18, you start earning a paycheck, and finally get your own place. But the true measure of maturity is internal. It is a strange paradox that we often present our most patient, measured selves to colleagues and strangers, while reserving our most reactive and immature behavior for the people who raised us. This is the familiarity trap. In close relationships, as intimacy rises, our standards for behavior often begin to slide. We treat closeness as permission to abandon decency. When standards drop, they splinter into 4 behavioral tracks: a sharper tone, unexplained silence, a refusal to carry your own weight, and viewing a parent's aging as an inconvenience. We rarely admit to these patterns. Instead, we often lean on the language of therapy to justify them, citing our parents' past mistakes or claiming a sudden need for boundaries to excuse our own lack of self-control. Financial independence is only part of the story. True maturity is found in how you manage the shifting timeline of your relationship with your parents with a consistent sense of honor. The first major test occurs in early adulthood. This is a season defined by the aggressive pursuit of personal autonomy, often at the expense of everything else. In this rush for space, many grown children begin to speak to their parents with a distinct lack of respect. Because the parent is familiar, their presence is treated as ordinary, and the cost of their earlier sacrifices is easily forgotten. Disrespectful speech is rarely just a matter of tone. It reveals a failure of inner management. When a person claims to value love and loyalty, they expose a gap between their stated ideals and how they function under emotional strain. This same drive for independence frequently leads to the second failure of this stage, causing parents unnecessary anxiety through deliberate silence or total absence. Young adults often interpret a simple check-in as urge for control. They fail to see that a parent's concern is the result of decades spent protecting and worrying over a life that was once entirely vulnerable. When you use silence as a tool to escape uncomfortable questions, you are essentially spending someone else's peace of mind to buy your own convenience. Demanding total freedom while ignoring the emotional wake you leave behind is a lingering trait of childhood. Eventually, the struggle for space transitions into mid-adulthood. The challenge here is no longer about getting away. It is about surviving the relentless daily demands of the real world. This pressure often leads to a different failure, forcing aging parents to continue carrying your financial, practical, or emotional burdens long after you should be standing on your own. There is a clear line between accepting help during a crisis and falling into a state of permanent entitlement. One is a bridge to the future. The other is a way to stay comfortable while someone else pays the bill. The driver behind this prolonged dependence is the fact that ease is addictive. Relying on a parent's shelter to soften life's blows might feel safe, but it prevents you from developing the capabilities you will need later. Often, this is driven by a fear of failure. By staying anchored to a parent's resources, an adult child ensures that someone else is always there to absorb the risks of their choices. Using a parent's love as a shield against effort stalls the transition from being someone who is carried to someone who can carry others. The final stage of the relationship brings a total reversal of power. As parents age and weaken, they move from being the providers of care to the ones who desperately need it. This shift reveals the final failure, treating a parent like an inconvenience or a burden because they are no longer useful to your personal goals. It is easy to slip into a transactional mindset, measuring a relationship by how much time or emotional energy it drains from your schedule. In this frame, an aging parent becomes a logistical problem to be managed as efficiently as possible. Our culture prizes speed and productivity, but human dignity does not shrink just because a body slows down. When a parent becomes fragile, they are not an interruption. They are a person of inherent value. Respect that evaporates the moment a parent is no longer useful to your progress was never honor. It was a transaction. True character is proven when honoring a parent becomes exhausting, costly, and offers no immediate benefit to your own life. All of these behaviors are governed by one absolute constraint: time itself. The clock is moving, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. We live under the delusion that there will always be more time to fix things later, once we are more successful, more settled, or less busy.
But the day eventually comes when the arguments, the pride, and the money become entirely meaningless. Once a parent is gone, the only thing that remains is the reality of how you treated them while they were here. Adulthood requires taking full ownership of your life and duties. True strength is found in carrying your own weight and honoring those who helped you. Make the call today. Change your tone. Stop making their lives heavier and start carrying your share. Honor is an active choice made in the present. A wise person does not wait for a funeral to become the child they should have been all along.